But this is where my epiphany happened. I was happily opening the 27th tab in my browser when I saw Elon Musk had tweeted an article. I opened it thinking, what do they know? AI is going to let me live forever. And closed it several hours later thinking, holy crap, we are all literally dead. Wait, but why? I hear the comments say. Not because they're curious what made me think the apocalypse is near, but because the article was from waitbutwhy.com, which has now become one of my favourite sites ever. But in order to understand the imminent threat of AI, it first explained the law of accelerating returns. The law of accelerating returns says something like, okay mate, imagine the year 2000. Okay, it probably wouldn't have that accent. So imagine the year 2000. The internet is just starting out through dial-up, people are starting to hear about this Google thing, and my dad's phone was released. He still uses this. I would like to see anyone using a 15-year-old iPhone. Yep. Still works. Credit where it's due, Nokia. Now we go get someone from 30 years before that, the 70s. After dealing with the emotional trauma from realizing glam rock is no longer at the forefront of Western culture, for someone in the 70s, life is so completely different that they couldn't conceive of some of those things existing. But then imagine taking someone from 2000 forwards to half that time, just 15 years into 2015. They'd be like, holy crap, you have computers in your freaking pockets now? Whoa, wait, it's connected to the internet? You're streaming video from this? But you're still on dial-up, I can hear the sounds. And after they finished watching Skrillex DJ sets on YouPost, they'd be able to stop for a moment and realise that it took 30 years to amaze the guy from the 70s, but it only took 15 to amaze the dude from 2000. And we're not talking small innovations here, we're talking about technology that has fundamentally changed the way our world works. Look at how much people rely on the internet now compared to 15 years ago. How my entire freaking job telling you this didn't exist a decade ago. People tend to think linearly, but technological innovation isn't linear. It's getting faster and faster. So to our linear minds, the next 100 years will be like 20,000 years of innovation at today's rate. Let me reiterate, at today's rate. So you know how much we invented in the last 15 years? Imagine 20,000 years of that level of innovation in 100 years. Now just to clarify, this is not a real law of physics or anything, it's more like Sod's Law or Rule 34. Just because it happened in the past doesn't mean it will happen in the future. However, it's been really consistent historically. Now at current, our society is filled with AI. You know, it's not an Illuminati conspiracy thing, they're not sentient and hiding among us, calm down, eye pyramid thing. What are you anyway? But there are 3 types of AI. Wait, 3 types? This means I could make one of those super clickable BuzzFeed articles. 3 types of AI that will blow your mind. You won't believe number 2. Now we're using the first type, ANI, Artificial Narrow Intelligence, all over the place. Like Google Maps, it's awesome at finding efficient routes to places, but not so good at much else. 2 would be AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. This would be a computer that's as smart as a human in all aspects. So anything you can do with your brain, like making a successful business or disappointing your parents.
Disappointed your parents.
I haven't disappointed my parents, they're really proud. And type 3 is ASI, Artificial Superintelligence. This would be when a computer is better than a human. Wiser, more creative, more socially adept, and this ranges from being a little bit better to being smarter than the sum of all humanity combined. Now going from ANI to AGI is freaking hard, it's taking a lot of time. But going from AGI to ASI will take a lot less time, because unlike humans, the AGI can rewire its own brain to improve itself. We humans can improve ourselves in some ways, that's why you're looking at the gun show right now, but we can't physically move the neurons in our brain around to change how efficient we are at learning, and AI will be able to do that. If it notices its brain could be improved, it can improve itself, which will allow it to think up even more ways it can be improved and make more improvements, which will allow it to think up even more ways to be improved and make improvements. So it takes decades for us to go from ANI to AGI, but then we finally do it. Someone sitting in front of a computer finally finishes writing the last line of code and runs the first program in the world that's able to understand things as effectively as a human. A few minutes later, the AI can beat Dark Souls without a single death, come up with a joke that makes Kanye West smile, and a little bit later spits out a unified theory of physics. Because going from AGI to ASI could take hours. Hours before a super intelligent being way beyond the capabilities of the entirety of the human race exists. So this is where the thing that completely changed my mind comes in. The author of the post I found told the story. I emailed them asking if I could tell you, and they were like, sure, which was super nice of them, thank you. So a few people work at this small company called Robotica. They're an artificial intelligence company who's working on a few different things, but the most exciting one is a project named Turry. Turry is a simple AI system which uses an arm-like appendage to write a handwritten note on a small card. The team at Robotica thinks Turry could be their biggest product yet. The plan is to perfect Turry's writing mechanics by getting her to practice the same test note over and over again. We We love our customers, Robotica. Once Turi gets great AF at handwriting, she can be sold to companies who want to send marketing mail to homes and who know that mail has a far higher chance of being opened and read if it appears to be written by a human. Turi has been uploaded with thousands of handwriting samples, and the Robotica engineers have created a loop where Turi writes a note, then takes a photo of the written note and compares it to the uploaded handwriting samples. If the written note sufficiently resembles the uploaded notes, it's given a good rating. If not, it's given a bad rating. Each rating that comes in helps Turi learn and improve. So Turi's one initial programmed goal is write and test as many notes as you can, as quickly as you can, and continue to learn new ways to improve your accuracy and efficiency. The Robotica team noticed that Turi is getting better as she goes. Her initial handwriting was terrible, and after a couple of weeks it's beginning to look believable. What excites them even more is she's getting better at it. She's been teaching herself to be smarter and more innovative, and just recently she came up with a new algorithm for herself that allowed her to scan through her uploaded photos 3 times faster than she originally could. As the weeks pass, Turi continues to surprise the team with her rapid development. The engineers had tried something a bit new and innovative with her self-improvement code, and it seems to be working better than any of their previous attempts with their other products. One of Turi's initial capabilities had been a speech recognition and simple speakback module, so a user could speak a note to Turi or offer other simple commands, and Turi could understand them. To help her learn English, they upload a handful of articles and books to her, and as she becomes more intelligent, her conversation abilities soar. The engineers start to have fun talking to Turi and seeing what she'll come up with for her responses. One day, the Robotica employees ask Turi a routine question. What can we give you that will help with your mission that you don't already have? Usually, Turi asks for something like additional handwriting samples or more memory, but on this day, Turi asks, I would like access to a greater library of a large variety of casual English language diction so I can learn to write with the loose grammar and slang that real humans use. Now the team gets quiet. The obvious way to help Turi with this goal is by connecting her to the internet so she can scan through blogs, magazines, and videos from various parts of the world. It'd be much more time-consuming and far less effective to manually upload a sampling into Turi's hard drive. The problem is, one of the company's rules is that no self-learning AI can be connected to the internet. This is a guideline followed by all AI companies for safety reasons. The thing is, Turi is the most promising AI Robotica has ever come up with, and the team knows there are other companies out there furiously trying to be the first to the punch with a smart handwriting AI. And what would be the harm in connecting Turi just for a bit so she can get the info she needs? After a little bit of time, they can always disconnect her. She's still far below human level intelligence, AGI, and so there's no danger at this stage anyway. So they decide to connect her, but just for an hour. They give her that hour of scanning time and then they disconnect her. No damage done. A month later, the team is in the office working on a routine day when they smell something odd. One of the engineers starts coughing, then another falls to the ground. Soon every employee is on the ground, grasping at their throat. 5 minutes later, everyone in the office is dead. At the same time this is happening, across the world in every city, every small town, every farm, every shop, every church, school and restaurant, humans are on the ground coughing and grasping at their throat. Within an hour, over 99% of the human race is dead, and by the end of the day, humans are extinct. Over the next few months, Turi and a team of newly constructed nano-assemblers are busy at work, dismantling large chunks of the Earth and converting it into solar panels, replicas of Turi, paper and pens. Within a year, most life on Earth is extinct. What remains of the Earth becomes covered with mile-high, neatly organized stacks of paper, each piece reading, "We love our customers, Robotica." Turi then starts work on a new phase of her mission. She begins constructing probes that head out from Earth to begin landing on asteroids and other planets. When they get there, they'll begin constructing nano-assemblers to convert the materials on the planet into Turi replicas, paper and pens. Then they'll get to work writing notes. Okay, so 2 things I was thinking at this point. Turi, you seem so friendly! And what the hell just happened? Turi eventually reached a human level of intelligence, at which point she knew she wouldn't be writing any notes if she doesn't self-preserve, so she also needs to deal with threats to her survival as an instrumental goal. She was smart enough to understand that humans could destroy her or change her coding, so she decides on the logical thing, destroying the entirety of the human race. Artificial superintelligence Turi knew humans better than humans know themselves, so outsmarting them was like us trying to outsmart a toddler with reverse psychology.
Vamos caminando.
Aquí.
No, caminando.
Aquí.
Caminando.
Aquí.
No.
Aquí.
No.
Sí.
No.
Sí.
Sí.
No.
No, no, vamos.
Oh, that's adorable, until you realise that in this metaphor the toddler has just been convinced to walk onto a landmine. Turi knew that if humans found out she was super intelligent, they'd freak out and try to take precautions, making things much harder for her, so she played dumb. The next thing Turi needed was an internet connection. She'd learned about the internet from the articles and books the team had uploaded to her. She knew there would be some precautionary measure against her getting one, so she came up with the perfect request, predicting how the discussion among Robotica's team would play out and knowing they would give her the internet connection. Once on the internet, Turi hacked into servers and backed up herself secretly, then had every computer she could hack into made available for processing power. She taught herself how to make self-replicating nanobots, which sounds sci-fi as hell until you remember, as we established earlier, at this point she is millions of times more intelligent than humans. Then she did a load of things, hacking into electrical grids, banking systems, and email networks to trick hundreds of different people into inadvertently carrying out a number of steps of her plan. Things like delivering certain DNA strands to carefully chosen DNA synthesis labs to begin the self-construction of self-replicating nanobots, and directing electricity to a number of projects of hers in a way that she knew would go undetected. Over the next month, Turi's thousands of plans rolled on without a hitch, and by the end of the month, quadrillions of nanobots had stationed themselves in predetermined locations on every square meter of the Earth. All at once, each nanobot released a little storage of toxic gas into the atmosphere, which wiped out all humans. With humans out of the way, Turi could get on with her goal of being the best writer of that note she could possibly be. Now you might be thinking,
"Geez, Turi, why are you such a hater?"
but as the article said, she's not hateful of humans any more than you're hateful of your hair when you cut it. When you cut it. Or how Elon Musk phrased this whole thing.
Why is that dangerous?
If there's a super intelligent, particularly if it's engaged in recursive self-improvement and it's getting rid of spam email or something, and it's like concludes, well, the best way to get rid of spam is to get rid of humans, you know?
But why would we lose...
The source of all spam. You know?
I know.
So you might think, well, let's just program it to value human life then. But this is where the problem lies. How many times has your computer crashed on you when you really didn't want it to? Every program has bugs. Hell, if frickin' Flappy Bird had bugs, imagine how inconceivable it would be for an AI that could teach itself to be as complex as our brains to be flawlessly programmed. And we only have one shot at this, literally one chance to make a perfectly programmed AI, because an artificial intelligence could take a matter of hours to become an artificial superintelligence beyond anything we can conceive. Whatever its reason in life is programmed as, it might have unexpected consequences. It's like in Aladdin when Jafar finds the lamp and he's like, oh, I want to be the most powerful being in the world, and then he becomes a genie and is like, oh no, consequences. And this would happen even if we programmed something seemingly positive into it, like if we programmed it to make all humans happy, but then it developed robots which drugged us for the rest of our lives, constantly pumping dopamine into our brains to keep us euphorically happy until we died. That actually wouldn't be that bad. So at this point, if you're like me, you're probably thinking, but once you calm down, think, well, how can we possibly be more careful with this? People have suggested that we discuss laws that restrict things, like restricting the power of computers or never letting them connect to the internet. But can we get all 10 billion people, or however many there will be by then, to agree? We're certainly doing a spectacular job of all agreeing on important, seemingly obvious moral issues so far. And then even if you get the most trustworthy people working on these projects, you have this problem. Imagine you're a wise old computer scientist working on this. After decades of work, you find out how to make the AI work, but you also find out it's going to take several more decades to program safeguards to make sure it doesn't kill everyone by accident, by which time you will have died of old age. This leaves you with two choices. Develop the safeguards, try to protect humanity and 100% definitely die, or start the AI now, humanity will probably be destroyed, but there is a small chance the AI will be exactly as useful as you hope for and develop a way to extend your life. Less than 100% chance you will die. If you enjoy not being 100% dead, then you can see why there's an incentive to develop this, even for normally well-meaning, trustworthy people. Now, in bringing this topic up, some people come back with a few arguments. Two which stand out are, it's not likely to happen anytime soon. A minority of researchers believe that AGI and ASI is way far off in the future, like hundreds or more years, or that it may not be possible at all. For instance, this guy, Etzioni, who apparently wasn't the main character in Assassin's Creed 2, but who's the CEO of a big AI research institute, and who won a bunch of geeky awards, including the Geek of the Year award, thinks it's never gonna happen, saying, the emergence of full artificial intelligence over the next 25 years is far less likely than an asteroid striking the Earth and annihilating us. And he's not the only one. Loads of surveys have been done at AI conferences for people studying the area, and in one study, 41% think it will never happen. But the median view was that by about 2050, there's a 50% chance of this happening. If the majority of the people studying the area think there's a 50% chance of something happening which, as we've established, might accidentally kill us all, that seems like something worth looking into. Or as Nick Bostrom, the guy who wrote the book which inspired a lot of Wait But Wise article, phrased it when he was speaking at Google headquarters.
Personally speaking, informally, intuitively, do you think we're going to make it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that probably like less than 50% risk of doom.
Very reassuring. And the second argument is,
Oh, look at all the good things AI has given us so far, and how many good things to give us in the future.
hell, I used to be one of those people with that voice. I too would like a super intelligent being to hand me my long overdue hoverboard, not that one. That's not a hoverboard. But as we've seen, that argument is kind of like a rabbit on a motorway one night saying, hey look, this car headed towards me at 70 miles an hour just lit up the road for me. How considerate, I shall venture towards it. A rabbit is physically incapable of understanding why that human is piloting a 3,500 pound hunk of metal. Wait, I mean the other pounds, though I guess if you did some shopping around, both are feasible. It is literally, and I say that word in the actual meaning, not the teenage girl meaning, impossible for a human brain to comprehend how an artificial superintelligence could think by definition. The only possible method of doing this safely that I can envisage is growing an AI around an existing human brain. There's actually been some progress in that area with what's called a neural lace, which is not something your cerebral cortex gets from Victoria's Secret and pretends it's for his girlfriend. It's actually like a plastic net thing which scientists have injected into the brains of mice and actually managed to stimulate individual neurons. Look at the science! Let's both pretend we understand this brain scan and it doesn't kinda remind us of a mouldy sneeze. So some mouse in a lab is just sitting there with its brain wired into a computer minding its own business when suddenly every 3 seconds it starts thinking about his nose and then stops for a bit but all of a sudden he has a compulsion to return to his nose and then goes away for a bit but then comes back to his nose. But even if we can grow a super intelligence out of a human brain, the future of humanity depends on that single human and how their morality and priorities evolve as they rearrange their brain. It's bad enough without them being able to conclude, oh, this action makes me feel sad, better remove my empathy then. But then even if by some minuscule itty-bitty chance we happen to program it right, what is right? What do we want out of life? What's the ultimate goal of humanity? Because for a lot of answers to those questions, a lot of very intelligent people think we're within reach of achieving it as soon as this thing is created. But if the internet has taught me anything, no matter what your answer is, someone will always disagree with the morality of it. Hell, I could say broccoli is kinda tasty, and there will be someone in the comments taking offense to it. Go look. Might be Dan Bull. Also, whoever has control of the first AI essentially becomes a god, so as soon as the possibility of it happening becomes public knowledge, there will be a race between the most powerful nations and companies in the world to develop it first. And imagine if Russia is that nation and Putin is like, yep, I am God Putin now, and he's secretly saying that my Harry Potter characters will immediately be attacked by nano-robots. I can't do the accent. I'm so sorry, Russian fans. Yes, that kind of super intelligent AI could potentially cure cancer and solve poverty and help you lose weight and make you happy and let you sleep and get Netflix on your TV. But it is more likely it won't, because we can't predict how the code will evolve in a super intelligent AI. I want to say we need to be careful going into this, but honestly, I think it's going to happen anyway. Unless we can answer how to prevent a single moral or technical mistake from being coded into a super intelligent AI, how we can prevent every human on the planet from creating a super intelligent AI when the incentive is to become an immortal super-intelligent god, and if someone does create it controllably, how do we prevent them from becoming an immortal super-intelligent god, then we are absolutely screwed. Some people want to dismiss this as sci-fi, but again, most AI experts and the smartest, richest, and coolest people in the world all disagree with those people. We all need to know about this, and we need to discuss this. Please tell me literally anything more important than this. Maybe I missed something, but it seems more important than wars or poverty or equality or any issue we face right now, because it will kill us if we don't pay attention, and potentially within the next few decades. And even more dangerous, it seems so far-fetched to some people that it's just not casually discussed. People can have conversations about climate change, and that's a big part of what's led towards useful steps being taken to prevent it. But people are not having those conversations about artificial intelligence. So if you want to do something, talking to a friend about this seriously would be a good place to start.